Welcome to Thez Nutz Garage, and today we're going to be changing over our expedition to Amsoil. Alright, like I said in the intro, what we're going to be doing today is changing the oil in old Phil. Now, this is a 1998 Ford Expedition with a 5.4 liter V8. Now, I've owned this truck about 2 months, and right when I bought it, the previous owner had the oil changed in it. Now, I don't know what type of oil is in it. I just know that there is a sticker on the windshield that says the oil is due at such and such mileage. Now, what we're going to be putting in it today, we're actually going to be converting it over from I'll say a standard oil to a fully synthetic oil, and the brand we're going to be using, Amsoil. Now, today's video, I have a few products that were sponsored by Eagle Lubricants, and if you want to check out their website, their contact information will be in the comments section down below. Also, there's a referral code, and if you want to put in that referral code, what that'll do is help Thez Nutz Garage be able to get some more Amsoil products. Now, I am not a dealer. I just work with a dealer, but some of the products today, I will tell you which ones come from him and which one come from me. So let's get started on this, and I'll go through each bit of the products and tell you what we're going to be using and a little bit of the information about them. If you have any questions about the products I'm going to be using today, comment down below, because Robert Rogers is the dealer that I work with, and if you have a question, he's more suitable to answer those questions than me. So comment down below, and I'm sure he'll jump on there and answer your questions if you have any. All right, so let's talk about the products we're going to be using today. Now, the first thing we're going to be using today is the Amsoil engine flush. Now, this is a product that was sent to me by Eagle Lubricants to try out, and I've used it in the past, and it really works really well. And basically what this flush does is when you go from a conventional oil to a 100% synthetic oil, what you need to do is flush out all the old oil and contaminants that are in the engine. And basically what this does is it goes in there and cleans up all your oil passages, and it just does a lot of cleaning on the inside of the motor there. So this is the first product we're going to be using. And what we'll do is we'll pour this in where the oil goes, let the truck run for 15 minutes, shut it off, drain the oil, and then we'll be replacing the oil filter. So this is the oil filter that we're going to be using, and this is something that I bought, and this is EA011, and this is for the Ford 5.4 liter engines. So it's got some stuff over here, tells you how great it is, how it gets down all these microns over here, gives you about the warranty and all that kind of information there. Now, one thing that I like about Amsoil products, and I did recently change the oil in my daughter's car, and it was at the the moment there, and I had to go to local Walmart store and get a filter, and I did put in a Mobil 1 filter to try it out. Now, one thing, when I opened up the Mobil 1 box, you have a filter, but it's not wrapped like this. Now, I'm believing that Mobil 1 100% synthetic or fully synthetic oil is what everybody compares Amsoil to. Now, as just a user, I like this wrapping that's on this container, because anytime you buy a filter at Walmart, you need, or AutoZone, any place, Kroger, Dollar General, your neighborhood market, wherever you're going, always check inside of here, because these packages are open, and all it takes is for somebody just to drop a few pieces of sand or something inside that oil filter, just trying to be funny, you to buy that filter, put it on your car, and the next thing you know, you've got an engine that's gone south because somebody wanted to play funny games. So with Amsoil filters, I really liked how they have them wrapped up. Now, once we get the filter put on, the new filter put on, and the oil drained out of it, we'll be replacing it with this Amsoil 100% synthetic motor oil. Now, this is a signature series oil from Amsoil. This is the top of the line. The oil I also purchased myself. But this oil here, it's got a bunch more stuff on the back of how good it is. This is their top of the line, and it is a 5w-20 oil, which is what this 5.4 liter takes. So we're going to be using almost 6 quarts in this truck. And what I have is I have 2 small quarts, and then I have a gallon jug back here. It's always cheaper if you've got, like, say you're using 6 quarts or 5 quarts of oil, to buy a gallon and then 2 smaller quarts. It's just cheaper that way. Something else that you could do is just buy 2 gallons, and then you'll have 2 quarts left over, you know, for future oil changes. So that's what we're going to be using today. Once we get the oil changed, up next, and it was up next. So what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be adding some, this is some gas additive. This helps, you know, this is what they call upper cylinder lubricant. So this gets in the upper part of your engine and kind of lubricates all of those parts that are running through there. I'll be adding this to the truck, and this gasoline additive as well. I'll be putting this in the engine, or in the gas tank. So this and the upper cylinder lubricant it's usually dogs, lawnmowers, your neighbors interrupting your videos, but I've never had a marathon go by my house out here in the country, so who'd have figured? All right, so there's gonna be a few things that I need to do. First thing I'm gonna do is pull my engine oil dipstick, and that's gonna be on the driver's side. I'm just gonna go ahead and pull that out and lay that up here on the front of the truck. I'm also going to go ahead and remove my engine oil cap. That's going to be on the passenger side. You see where it says engine oil? I also want to kind of look at my bottom of my cap, make sure that oil is still black. We don't want to see that looking like a milkshake or have any kind of condensation on it. So that looks good. Now something else that I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to remove my air box here. I have a few more things I need to disconnect, but what I want to do is be able to clean my, since I have this air filter off, I'm going to be replacing the air filter, is I want to clean my mass airflow sensor in here. So we're going to take all this off, and I'll clean that when I reinstall it, because I also want to be able to clean my throttle body. I have some product there. So let me get this off, and I'll be right back. Alrighty, so what I'm going to be doing now is, here's my throttle body, and the inside of here, you usually have a little bit of a buildup inside of that, and what that'll cause is your pedal to kind of be sticky. And what I'm going to use today is, this is another Amsoil product that was sent to me to try out, and I've tested it a little bit on this type of part. But basically what this is a power foam. It says carburetor induction system cleaner. Now I ordered this, and then I ordered these cool little, I don't know, I call them straw holders, and basically that just holds this little red straw so that way you don't lose them, because I'm always losing those. So what I'm going to do is just spray some of this in this intake. Just going to be pretty generous with it. Now here's some brake and braking parts cleaner. Same thing, come from Amsoil, Eagle Lubricants. Our contact information is down below. And basically what I'm going to do is just kind of clean up on the outside of this throttle body real quick. Just trying to clean up all my linkage. Now while that sits there and kind of dries, this is the air filter that's on this truck. This needs to be replaced. And I have ordered one, but it won't be here till Monday. Today's Saturday. So I will be replacing this. So if you think that I'm just going to reuse this forever, I'm not. This thing looks like it's got 100,000 miles on it. So the next thing that I'm going to be doing is inside of this, let's just call it air duct work, or whatever you want to call it. If you know the technical name, stick it down below. But right in here is your mass airflow sensor. And I like to clean those whenever I change my air filter, because these can get a small amount of dust on them or dirt and cause you to have a check engine light. This just happened on my daughter's Nissan. Her check engine light come on. It was a mass airflow sensor code. I cleaned this, put it all back together when I changed her oil. Works fine. Light went out, didn't come back on. Now what we're going to be using for this is something that you can get at Walmart, AutoZone, O'Reilly's, a lot of the parts stores. Target probably doesn't have this, so if you're going to go to Target, they probably don't have this, so you may need to go somewhere else. But this is a mass airflow sensor cleaner. That's what this is made for. You don't want to spray brake cleaner in here because it can mess up that sensor. Just spray it in there like that and let it sit. Alright, so the final thing I'm going to do up top right here, I'm going to be using another Amsoil product, and this is some metal protector. Got this from Eagle Lubricants. They sent this to me to try out. I like this stuff. I just wish the can was bigger because I use it quite a bit. All I'm doing there is I'm just kind of spraying a little bit on my linkage. I'm hoping that helps it not get in a bind. So I'm going to put this stuff away, and what we'll do is we'll jump underneath the truck and start draining the oil out. Well, I almost messed up. Before we can drain our oil out, what we got to do is put our engine flush in. So, as you've seen in the time-lapse video, I just kind of put everything back on. What we're going to do is put a funnel here and add our engine flush. Alrighty. I think this is a thing when you're dealing with Amsoil, to see how high you can get the fluid up in the air. I guess that's a thing. Now what we'll do is put our cap back on. Start up the truck and let it idle for 15 minutes. Alrighty, so I'm up underneath the truck now. What's kind of nice about this truck is it does sit a little bit higher off the ground, so I don't have to use ramps. Now right back here is our drain bolt. Now oil is going to be hot because the truck has been running for about 15 minutes. And this right here is my drain bucket. This is a 16mm socket, so I'm just going to break it loose. As you can tell, it's already trying to come out. Still pretty tight. Let me set my ratchet down. Usually when you use this engine flush, the oil is a lot thinner when it's coming out, so it may want to, travel further out of the hole into the bucket, so you want to kind of be careful. And being that the oil is hot, you don't want it to burn you either. We'll let that drain out and then we'll come back and reinstall our drain bolt. So now we're just going to tighten up our drain plug here. Good enough. You don't have to tighten the heck out of those or you'll strip them threads inside of the pan or on the bolt, especially if you have an aluminum pan. There's probably a torque spec to this that you can torque that down to, but I've just snugged it up where I know it's not going to come loose or leak. Another thing is don't use those electric impacts on these, putting these on or off, because you will mess up the threads. So now that we have the drain plug back in, what we'll do is jump over here to the oil filter and remove it. All right, so here on the Ford Expeditions, at least the four-wheel drive models, I believe, the oil filter is out here underneath the driver's side fender well, right behind the fog lamps or front bumper. It's kind of, I guess there's so much, not a lot of space under the hood, so now you might want to use a filter wrench on your filter. I kind of figured this filter was on here really tight since it was changed by like one of those quick lube places. So I had a feeling. All right, so while I'm letting the, I'll say, oil filter housing drain a little bit, let's talk about your oil filters real quick. If this is your first time ever changing oil, you need to know this. If it's not, you should know it. Probably everybody that ever does an oil change video shows you this. There's a rubber ring right here, gasket. Make sure when you take your old oil filter off, right here, this ring, make sure that's, if you take your old oil filter off, make sure this is on your filter, because if not, you'll double your seal, and what will happen is your oil will blow off or blow out between the two seals. Now let's talk about our new oil filter. Being that the oil filter on this truck mounts sideways like this, you can't put a whole lot of oil in the filter, because if you do, when you're installing it, what's going to happen is it's going to spill all over the place and make a mess. So what we're going to do is we're just going to put a little bit of oil in it and then a little bit of oil around this ring, so that way when we tighten it up, we don't we get a good seal and we don't have to worry about our oil filter leaking. Just going to do this thing where everybody does this funny thing, you know. And basically we got a little bit of oil and we'll just spill it all over the place. Just going to put our finger in that oil and just run it around this seal. Just get it good and lubed up. And then what we'll do is we'll just reinstall this oil filter. One more thing about an oil filter, something that you can do. This is a paint pen. What I'm going to do is down here on the bottom of my oil filter, and being that I've spilled some oil on the side of this filter and it may run out, I'm just going to hold it up like this. But what I'm going to do is put today's date. And what that does is that lets the next guy change their oil, which will be me, on what day the oil was changed. Now something else that I can do is I can also come on the side of the filter and put the mileage of today's oil change. $140,000 miles. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is just run my hand around this. Make sure there's not any contaminants or any pieces of metal there. Basically, I'm just gonna turn my filter up. And as you can see, there's a little bit of that oil leaking out. That's even the small amount that I put in there. So that's why you never fill one up when it's on the side, because you'll spill it all over yourself. All right, so we can see our date when we changed our oil. Now I'm just going to wipe up around this filter, get any oil off of it that we may have leaked out. And we're good. Now we need to fill the oil back up, fill the truck back up with oil. All right, so this truck, according to the book, takes almost 6 quarts. And what we're going to do first is I'm going to put in 1 quart of the Amsoil Signature Series 5w-20. The good stuff, some might say. And we got to do something like this. Don't see how tall we can go. And of course, I'm cheating. I got this big filter, or this big funnel here, not filter, but funnel. I don't want to make a mess. I have to clean that up. Well, there that good went. So now let's add 4 quarts, or a gallon. If you're watching in Canada, and it's supposed to be liters or something, it says 3.78 liters. Don't you know, eh? All right, let's pour this in there. You'll hold your bottle like this when you're pouring it, you won't get it, you know, to be gurgling for air. So it makes it pour out a little easier like this. Get all that stuff out of there. Get as much of it as I can. All right, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna let this sit about 15 minutes so I can check my oil over there. And then what I'll do is I have 1 more quart and I'll just see how much more we need. It may be a half quart, maybe 3/4 of a quart, maybe a whole quart. But we're gonna find out in about 15 minutes. And while I'm waiting to check my oil so all that oil can go down to that oil pan, I think what I'm gonna do is clean up these battery terminals because they're getting a little corroded. Get them cleaned up and be one less thing. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do before we wrap up this video is I'm going to put in our additives into our gasoline. Now, the next 2 products did come from Eagle Lubricants, and if you need to ask about these products or any questions about the products, go down below and comment. The first one says it's a deep cleaning additive, gasoline, performance improver. Now, my truck is full of gas, so basically that's how I do it. When I put these bottles in here, I make sure my vehicle is full of gas. One thing I do like about these bottles is if you do have a new Ford vehicle without the gas caps, these fit in with no problem. You don't have to use a funnel or anything. They'll just pop right down in the gas tank. All right, now the second one is our upper cylinder lubricant. Now this is you put in the gas as well, and what it does is I guess as your engine's running, the chemicals or the products that are in this additive get in there and help lube up all the parts that it comes in contact with. I'm no fuel additive scientist, so if you got a question, comment down below. I'm sure Robert will jump on there and tell you all the wonderful things that this stuff does. I just don't know them right off the top of my head. Now, that's going to be it with the gasoline additives, so let's jump back around here and wrap this oil change up. Alrighty, so in the time-lapse video, you did see that I fixed my battery terminals here, cleaned them up, put some anti-corrosion spray on them. I checked my windshield washer fluid. I also checked my power steering fluid, my brake fluid, and my antifreeze, just to make sure the levels were all correct. I will check my transmission fluid when I get the truck running here in a minute. I'll check that as well. Now, it did take all 6 quarts of this Amsoil 5w-20 Signature Series oil. It did take all 6 of them. Now, what I'm going to do is go ahead and put my cap back on. And then what I'm going to do is start the truck up, let it run for 15 minutes, let it get back up to temperature, check my transmission fluid like I said, and then check my oil one more time. Now, if you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, I'd ask that you subscribe to the channel because we got a lot of things planned and we need every subscriber that we can get. Also, comment, do you have a truck like this with the 5.4 in it? What do you think of those engines? This is a 98 Expedition. So if you got one, comment down below. If you got any questions about what I'm doing, just comment that down below. So with that being said, I'm gonna get out of here. Y'all have a blessed day and I'll see you in the next video.